of business, economics, politics, governance, among many others. My name is Andrea Patania Matthew, and with me is my partner, Mr. Eric Espina. Good morning, Sir Eric.
Mayong kuan, mayong buntag sa tanan natong kuan, nagtanaw sa atong programa, partner Andy. O kuan karon ha, basig kalimot lang mo April 21 na karon. Ako lang nang gisgutan kay pasabutan na kapit nang kuan gyud, eleksyon na gyud, no?
Tinuod.
Kayo, so sakto gyud kayo ang atong gimbitaran karon, no? Okay, ako lang ipasubot ni partner. Papangunahin ko na lang. Open line is hashtag ni siya, open to all questions, open to all covers.
And sa di pa nato ipailaila tong guest speaker karong buntaga, Sir Eric, we would also like to acknowledge our partners who have made Open Line News Media Forum possible. Thank you very much to International Marketing Group, or IMG, the Total Financial Solutions, Manila Bankers Assurance, the Life and Non-Life Company, and the best way to show your love, Kaiser International Health Group Incorporated, Kaiser Medical Center, and De Los Reyes Optical. And of course, sa inyong tanan ato ang mga kauban nga nananaw, pinaagi sa live streaming sa MyTV Cebu's Facebook page and YouTube channel. Please feel free to join us in the discussion by typing your comments, questions, suggestions for our panelists this Tuesday morning sa ato ang live streaming link. O karon ipaila-ila na ni Sir Eric ang ato ang panelist karong buntaga.
Okay, I'm very happy to introduce to you. If I'm not mistaken, akong research ani may ni siya mo bisikleta ra ba? Sige ni siya bisikleta. None other than Attorney Gregorio Goyo Larrazabal, first nominee, Partido Bagong Pilipino Party List.
Good morning, sir, and welcome to Open Line News Media Forum.
Maing buntag sa inyo tanan. Salamat kayo sa pag-imbitar nako dinhi. It's nice to be here in joining you, explaining what we intend to do in the next 2 years, and also a reminder sa mga botante how to prepare for the May 12, 2025 elections.
Yes. Sir Eric, una yun akong pangutana ni Sir Goyo, no, kung kababa siya magbinisaya, and that opening statement answers the question. Kamaog yun siya, because he in fact was able to live here in Cebu for a while. Sir, no, you studied here, your undergrad.
An undergrad na ako sa San Carlos, sa Maine. Law school sa San Carlos gihapon. Next, na ko yung mga classes sa Talamban and sa Girls High. So, before kasi, when I was in college, I just commute here. So, mag-jeepney na ko from Maine, 14C, padung sa San Carlos, sa Talamban, human. Makasuri ko. Antod karon, makabiyahe gyapon ko.
Hindi ka masaag.
Hindi ko masaag, hindi ko mabaligya.
Sige, sir. If you could also walk us through the shift in your journey, sir, from COMELEC Commissioner, why now aim for an elective spot in government, particularly sa Congress, House of Representatives?
Okay. After I retired from COMELEC in 2011, ang gibuhat na ako is I went around the Philippines by myself. I like to drive eh. Sometimes a week at a time ako mag-usa. And whenever I'd go, I'd visit mga barangays. Tabang, donate some stuff, give some stuff. Natanaw na ako na daghay mga barangay na kailangan og mas daghan og tutok. Mas daghan tabang kay kailangan tutukan. So, I talked with some friends, like-minded individuals, and that's why we said, let's do a party list na tutukan nato ang barangay. Tutukan nato ang pagdungag sa serbisyo para sa ilaw pamilya. And Partido sa Bagong Pilipino is actually a Bisaya party list. Kay kung nang, it's Tagalog. If sa, that's Bisaya. So, Partido sa Bagong Pilipino. And the purpose here is, like I mentioned, to focus services sa barangay. And if I can say, no, kasi, when you build a house, I always say this, when you build a house, dapat there should be 4 main posts para solid foundation. And then we feel that we use the same principles to guide us on how to deliver better services. So we have 4 main pillars. The first is safe and clean drinking water, or basically access to water. Kaya kibaw ka, 53% of all households in the Philippines do not have access to safe and clean drinking water. Sa skulahan nato, mga public school, 55% of public schools do not have access to water. Ang tuloy na ako sa mga tao, when I talk to some people, when I talk to a group of people, mangutahan ako sa ila, pila kabuk ka sa inyo dinhi na nay telepono na pwede mo nay smartphone. Kasagaran mo isas kamay sa kamot. Pila kabuk sa inyo makatan-aw og Netflix or YouTube sa inyo telepono. Isa hapitanan. Pangungutan ang sunod pangungutan ako, pila kabuk sa inyo na tubig sa inyo malay or sa neighbor ninyo. Halos why mo isa sa ilang kamot. In the world, in the time and place, in the world we live in, we have internet, we have satellites. It's a very, what's the word I'm looking for? It's luoy kay ba? Na mga tao pwede sila manan og YouTube sa ila telepono pero wala sila tubig sa ila panamalay. That's wrong. When President Magsaysay was president, he gave away about 70,000 water pumps, no? Poso. And the problem before was water. It's still the same now. And we feel that tabangan namo through legislation, through policy development, to provide more households with water. Now, why is that important? If 53%, we can lower that by 3%. So 50% na lang. So 3% madungagan nato na mabawasan nato na white tubig. That 3% equals about 3 to 4 million Filipinos in the next 3 years who will have water in their houses. Now, kana siya, di na, ang epekto ana di sa adlaw, di sa semana, o sa kabuan, o sa katuig, pila na kadekada ang mga tao makabenepisyo. So, what we're saying is that when you think about policy development, when you talk about legislation, it should not be short-term solutions, but long-term solutions to help the communities.
In Cebu, in particularly, sir, how would you assess the problem of water scarcity dito?
Okay, it was pointed out to me recently na in Cebu, I think you have 2 dams, right? 2 dams, but not fully functioning. So, I guess one of the things I have to look at is how do you help Cebuanos, pagtabang sa Cebuanos, para madungagan og pondo para magpaayuhon ang mga dams nato. But that's just one solution. Second one is how do you make sure you can empower the mga LGUs and barangays to develop and access water resources efficiently. Third, you legislate a bill to punish or penalize companies that pollute our watersheds and esteros. Fourth is how do you we need to legislate policies in which LGUs have catch water basins para to utilize rainwater. But you have to attach water filtration systems there para mag-inom sa mga tao ang tubig. So those no? I mean, say we can talk all day about water development and water resources management, but I think what's important is you take the first few steps in addressing problems para mga tao, they can feel the effect in the next 3 years.
So, sir, you've mentioned about safe and clean drinking water. Ano pa yung mga nasa bucket list of your legislative agenda?
Okay, it comes in several stages, no. First is it comes in a multi-pronged approach in providing water. One is you work with the LGUs to develop and utilize efficiently the water resources. Second is, like I mentioned, you penalize companies that destroy our watersheds and esteros. Third is you develop catch water basins systems. But added to that, you have to provide more access to water filtration systems. Kasi what we've been doing is we've been donating water filtration systems all over the Philippines. We work with Waves for Water and other companies, but Waves for Water is the guys we work with talaga na. We help provide clean drinking water for communities. How do I do this? So, for example, it's each water filtration system that we donate can serve about 100 people. A village, a sitio, parok. Pero, that one, you don't need to change a filter for these 5 years. You backflush it lang. How do we do this? We go to the communities before, we ask them to give us water from the river or from mga rainwater. Sometimes it's yellow. And when we were in Carmen, Davao del Norte, Canadto, we asked for rainwater. It's yellow. But tatanaw na ako, kulang pa na. So, nigawas ko, kuha ako lapok, ibutang na ko sa pail, I washed my hands, and I drank the water. Fortunate enough, I'm still alive, so I'm still alive, so it works. Why did we do this? We did this for two things, to show that we can help, and we want to help. Second is, we're drinking the same water that the people we're donating water filtration systems to will be drinking. Same water, because importante yan to show that it's safe.
Sir, I'm not sure if you're familiar of the past conflicts within the water district dito sa Cebu. If given a chance to have a seat in Congress, how would you ensure that ma-avoid na tong politicizing of the operations of water districts in all provinces?
Okay. That problem is prevalent in other provinces also. Now, I was asked the same question, and my response at that time is the same now. The question about management of the water districts is probably step 4 in the process. We're still looking at number 1. We have to have, in order to resolve the disputes on what management of water districts, you actually have water to manage. So we work on muna providing more houses that will have access to water. Then management comes after. We work with LUA. We work with the LGUs. If you say now, do I have a solution for resolving disputes? If I say yes, I'm lying. Baka ko ana kay it's so complicated, and it's hard to have one solution for all water districts, but we have to address those concerns. How do we do it? I'm not an expert, so we bring in the stakeholders, we bring in the people who actually have a say in it, and who will be affected by those disputes. Then we find ways to maybe adjust, amend, or revise policies to avoid further conflict. But it comes in, it's a multi-stage approach in water management, because in order for you to have water to manage, you actually have, in order to resolve disputes of water management, you have to have water to manage.
Thank you, partner. Ang ako lang pangutana kang Juan, Attorney Goyo, first nominee sa partido sa bagong Pilipino party list. Klaro na nato.
Kuan kaning sir, what basically is partido sa bagong
Pilipino party list? Focus na siya on what marginalized sector or
Okay. In the party list, there are two types of party list representation. One representing marginalized sectors of society, and the other one is a regional political party. That we are a regional political party. Our concern is basically the welfare of the barangays. What we intend to do is we intend to focus our efforts in the next 3 years. Hopefully, if granted the opportunity to serve in Congress, if you vote number 91 sa balota, sa likod dyan sa balota, ha? Sa likod sa balota na siya, you only vote for one party list. We intend to pass policies that not only addresses the concerns of Caraga, Mindanao, and Visayas, but our proposed legislation affects all barangays all over the Philippines. No matter what language you speak, we are just one Philippines. We're all Filipinos. People ask, unsa man na siyang Partido sa Bagong Pilipino? Partido sa Bagong Pilipino is a political party of the new Filipino. The solutions mindset approach to solving problems. Kita ang bagong Pilipino. Kita mo'y magdaog, mas maing kaugmaon, di lang para sa inyo, kundi para sa inyong pamilya. Mauna namin din kaysa kay bawa namo, nami makatabang mi sa mga katawhan, di lang sa Cebu, kundi sa uban lugar sa tibok Pilipinas.
Ang kuan gusto siguro mailhan sa publiko kinsa imong second ug third nominee kay kuan man sad.
Yes.
Para mailhan tanan.
Okay, I'm the first nominee. Our second nominee is Beaver Lopez. Our third nominee is Romy Fortes. Our fourth nominee is Queen Melo Msgr. Our fifth nominee is Jun Castaño. Our sixth nominee is Jack Yabot. So we have 10 nominees, and each represents a segment, a particular advocacy. Why politiko sa among party list? There's no politician in our party list. Only people who want to serve the communities, want to serve the Philippines. Don't you feel sometimes na there are things you want to do, but there are things that you wish it was done? Then you just want the opportunity to help out. That's why we're here. That's why we're here, because we know that if granted the opportunity na makalingkod mi, nami mabuhat, di mi mag-ghosting, di mi pagkatapos, pagkahuman sa eleksyon, see you, bye-bye, see you in 2028. Ang plano namo is actually meeting you guys and discussing here. Me, personally, I'm explaining the programs para namoy resibo. Namoy resibo, so for example, after 2026, mungutan mo, unsa na may hitabo sa mga programa nimo? Unsa na hitabo sa mga plano sa partido? Para at least we can give you updates. So it's not, there's some na they use endorsers to speak for the political party. No, this is it. There's no filter. There's no layer. There's no level. There's it. You are hearing from us, the nominees, the officers of the parties, para sigurado what we say, we will actually do.
Sir, you mentioned kuan mo kaning walay mga politiko. What does the other nominees bring to the table? That's number one.
Okay.
And then you mentioned the House has 4 pillars.
Yes.
So, usaray mo
Okay,
na mention ang tulo.
Okay.
Usa man ang tulo.
Each one brings something to the table, his or her own advocacies. We work, when you vote for a party list kasi, you don't vote for a particular person, you don't vote for a particular individual, you vote for the party list and its advocacies. And we share the same advocacies. So that's why each one contributes to that one. So the first pillar is safe and clean drinking water. Second is affordable and accessible healthcare. Nakapagpakota na ha, importante rin. Pila kabuk sa inyo, na din o nasa inyo panamalay na nakaadto sa inyo barangay health center. Pag adto ni barangay health center, tanawa ha, unsay sud sa inyo barangay health center. Kasagaran, pagpa-BP, way medisina, way gapas, wala. So, amo ana is, we want to provide medicines to the barangay health centers, but that's just part of it. Second is, we want to file a bill to institutionalize better policies on distributions of medicines all over the Philippines. Third is to empower the BHWs, barangay healthcare workers, to have a more proactive approach in their management of the healthcare system in the barangays. And fourth, which is very important, we intend to file a bill to digitize the barangay healthcare system all over the Philippines. Third pillar is roads and access. Importante na. Our focus is the barangay. So, amo is roads and access is not highways, it's not expressways. It's the roads in the puroks and sitios, and access to Wi-Fi connectivity. There are some party lists who advocate the same thing. So we're good with that. If we share the same advocacies, we can work together. It's not ako ni siya, ay mo labot ana. If the more people working for it, the better, because the faster we'll move. The fourth goal is pillar is stable energy and stable energy and solar lights. I don't need to explain anymore because I think everybody knows how important stable energy is in the Philippines. in affordable and accessible healthcare, one of the things I forgot to mention is we plan to revitalize the Doctors of Barrios program. This was a very, very good program by the DOH before, but unfortunately, it's there, but it's not gaining as much traction as before. Maybe because of some problems in implementation, policies, benefits. So revitalizing that is important because it falls in the same line of our advocacies, bringing services to you, bringing services to the family. You don't go to the cities, you don't go to the urban centers. Ang gobyerno mo adto sa pagserbisyo sa imo. Muna.
Sir, how challenging do you find it to get these messages across to the voting public, or across through the noise, when it seems that lately super ka-polarized ang Philippines, and karon murag ang priorities karon sa mga voters is getting legislators who would either be able to protect VP Sara against impeachment, and of course kanang kinsa, it depends on their stand on the ongoing trial ni PRRD. Kanang murag mao na lang ni ang atong makita, especially on social media ba, nga you see people who would say nga vote straight these specific legislators nga mga candidates nga who would push this agenda. Dili na kayo makita ang let's say mga practical challenges nga na-experience gyud sa mga Pilipino on the grassroots level.
Okay. I think the problem, the question comes in two parts. First is the noise in campaigning.
Yes.
Because there's a lot of party lists who have so much money, spending so much money on ads, material. I haven't seen it like this before. I was in Comelec before, as an election lawyer. It's not this prevalent before. So that's a challenge. That's a first challenge in ensuring that the message goes in, reaches the voters. You guys, the media, are very important because you help people filter through the noise. What is real? What is BS? I say that, yeah. And what matters?
You can say that, sir. You can say that.
Yeah, okay, I can say that. I said it. Okay. So, unfortunately, in the world we live in, people value entertainment rather than hearing policies. Mas mutatak sa ilang utok kung musayaw o mukanta ang kandidato kaysa magstorya bahin sa mga polisiya. Tinood na, ang problema, di mi kaya ba musayaw, di mi kaya ba mukanta.
Di ka mo sa... Di ka mo
Pero ang saad nako, di mi kay ba mo kanta, di mi kay ba mo sayaw, pero kay ba mo hatag og serbisyo. Unsay mas importante, mo katawa mo or namoy tubig sa inyong panimalay sa sunod na pila ka tuig. Mo na hunaw na. Do you want something that's fleeting or you want something that's more or less permanent? Now, that's the first one. The second is with regards national politics. Now, let me say this. When we filed for accreditation and we did this party list, we were guided by the principles of Partido sa Bagong Pilipino. And the principle is anchored on service to the barangays. To veer away from that is a discourtesy and a disservice not only to us, but more importantly to you. Because we're running here not for anyone else but you. And we stay on message because that's what's important. Service to the communities. Ang serbisyo, medisina, tubig para sa inyo o inyong pamilya. Mao na mo message, mao na among tuyo, mao na among goal, and we'll stick to that because that, for me and us, is what matters.
Sir, on the note of mentioning about your past role as election lawyer of COMELEC, I'm just curious, sir, but like, does that old persona of yours somehow appear when you campaign? Like, do you feel like you have a greater sense of responsibility to abide by campaign guidelines given your previous role? Like, or do you call out fellow candidates, uy, violation na? And how would you assess also the implementation of the rules of the current leaders of COMELEC? Like, would you say that they're firm enough in implementing COMELEC campaign guidelines?
Okay, so I'll take out my campaign hat and my COMELEC hat, my election. Even after I retired from COMELEC, I never was able to take out my election commissioner hat. No? So when I talk to people, I start informing them about the rules, regulations, before actually talking about the party list. Because my mindset is that we hope you vote for us, 91 into ballot. We hope you vote for us, but as equally important is actually go out and vote. And when you vote for candidates who deserve your vote because they will provide service to you and your families the whole 3 or 6 years. So you can't shake it off. You always try to remind people that the importance of electing officials is not as important as strengthening Philippine democracy. So it's even as an election lawyer, I spent more of my time explaining election law rather than getting clients. So I didn't get a lot of clients because once you do that, once you keep informing people about the importance of their vote, you can't shake that off. You can't take it off. But by the way, let me mention one thing. When you vote on election day, the common perception is that you're voting for yourself. Ako ni siya, ako ni bolota, ako ni boto. That's actually, for me, that's wrong. A more important reason for you to vote is not for you, but for your loved ones, for your family, your kids and grandchildren. Because when you vote, you're actually part of the process of determining how your city, municipality, province, or country is run. And when you do that, you're not doing that for yourself. You're doing that for the people you love because you want to give them a better tomorrow. You want to give them opportunities that you might not have had. And voting people into office who can provide those opportunities to provide a better tomorrow is a much more important reason on who you should choose to vote for. Now, regarding katong sa mga members of assessment, pass lang ko diha because it's as a matter of courtesy, we try not to publicly give assessments of commissioners who came after us.
But your sir, your comments on the in safe space na the parang resolution ba na parang bawal bastos na guideline that they inserted, and then on their motu proprio filing of cases against candidates na nambabastos during their campaign period, would you say that this is also like a progressive step ng COMELEC?
I think that's it's step in the right direction, but that has to be studied thoroughly. So it has to align with current election laws, and it has to be studied. It has to be studied. They're doing that, but you have to take into account the nuances of local politics.
Observation partner nga kung di gani mo sayo og kanta ang kandidato, dili gyud kayo atat na atat mo kuan ba nga kinahanglan at all cost mo daog ba kay kinasing-kasing gyud ning ilang pagdagan. So ako pumunta ni attorney, kanang was there ever a time that you wanted to run for the Senate, and when would that have been? Murag namo ko yung mga hungihong na dungog namo nga mudagan unta kag senador.
Okay, actually I was asked in 2013 to run for the Senate, and that was a great time to run. The awareness was high, it's very positive, but I didn't run for two reasons. First is I was in charge of the 2010 elections, and if I ran in 2013, it leaves a very bad taste in my mouth. Parang people might think I was taking advantage of my situation. So, pass mo na, not all opportunities you get. Second, more important, my son was 5 years old at the time, and you know that when you're in politics, you can't have enough time for your family. So, I decided, son's important. So, because of that, I got to bring my son to school every day, get him from school. So, priorities muna. So, public service can come later, but once your son grows up, you miss that. Your kid grows up, that's a missed opportunity. You can't get that back anymore. So, those are the two reasons. No regrets whatsoever.
Naipulong sa partner nga, we feel you. Attorney, we feel you. Ako ni pangutanan ni mo, attorney, no? You talked about
During the time of
kuan kaning Ramon magsaysay, nagpabuhat yung daghang mga water pumps. Will that still be your direction in terms of na mga certain areas ngayon nga kinahanglan yung water pumps? That's one. And then the more substantive question is kaning, will this be a public, more emphasis on public corporations efforts, or will it still be a private initiated advocacy? Kay ang problema ani ang pricing na pud sa tubig.
Yes. I think that question comes in different stages, how you answer it. First is, yes, you still have to address the problem with access to water, but you bring it up to speed. Our thrust is our policies, our programs, our legislative agenda is not based on the value of the bill or the law that is passed, but the services it provides. What does that mean? A lot of people think now they equate the importance of legislation as to the value it's attached to it. We don't like that. We can develop policies and we can pass bills that set policies that maximize utilization of resources. You can do private-public partnerships to achieve this. And there's many ways to approach this concern. But like I mentioned, we're not the experts. So ang idea namin is we're guided by the policies. However, implementation of that during the TWG, we have to be guided by the experts and the stakeholders to make this feasible.
Is water pump still a viable conditionality? I mean, in the hinterlands, in mountain areas, do you see that it's still a viable solution?
I think it is, but not in all. It won't solve all the problems. It will solve some of the problems, but it won't solve all of it. So there's not one uniform approach to solving all problems in the Philippines. However, what is uniform is the guiding principle that more people have to have access to water. People ask, what about, why don't you talk about agriculture? Why don't you talk about urban farming? I say, sandali, what's the most essential element of agriculture and urban farming? Water. So, unahan natin yung importante, yung basic.
All right, maybe we can entertain one or two questions from our media friends because Attorney Goyo already has to leave in a bit for another speaking engagement. Sige, so our... Wala pa ang mic.
Si Nonoy Parcon sa DYR Chef Sir Goyo. Kaning tubig sa uwan, importante bagyapon kini kay usahay tuan naman ko sa south nagpuyo. Inom gapon mig tubig sa uwan, pero sa imong programa karon gikinahanglan ba pagyapon kini?
Yes, in fact, one of the bills we intend to pass is the Climate Resilient Water Systems Act. It intends to promote the development adaptation of rainwater harvesting systems in urban and rural areas. What that means is that there's a rainwater
Rainwater catchment.
Yes. but you attach water filters there para
Isa lagi.
para magamit, mainom nilang tubig.
Mm.
Yun. So it works, and it's we've done it in some places. It works. You just need to institutionalize it para mas widespread ang
Di na pabukalon.
Di na kay mo agin mo water filter.
Diri sa Cebu naman ang Carmen Book Water dia unsa imong mahimo ani kon makalingkod na ka sa hawanan sa Kongreso.
Ay, sorry. I have to be honest. I'm always straightforward. I'm not too familiar with that concern sa Carmen, so I have to study it. If I kumuhatag og tubag nimo karon na di ko kay sweto, namakako, di ba? Nagbulatik lang ta dinhi. So diyon sa nanamo paghuman, then we can come up with
kaning
concrete
mga
answers.
inong tambunga kaning mga LGUs nagyog ilang kaugalingong water system.
There should be.
Thank you, sir.
Sorry, have to go lang. Okay. Last question.
Sir, good morning. Rowena from DYRF. How do you plan to address the shortage of barangay health workers and basic medical equipments? And then, how can BBP help barangay prepare for climate change impacts like droughts or typhoons?
Okay, so for the barangay healthcare, there's the primary care initiative, primary care first initiative. So what that intends to do, the bill intends to shift the focus of BHWs to preventive care, early diagnosis, and chronic disease management. It intends to also implement a health education program at the barangay level, assisting the BHW focusing on nutrition, maternal health, sanitation, and disease prevention. Now, with regards the compensation of BHW, I understand there are several bills already regarding that matter. We have to study it. Hopefully, we'll be able to implement it. That's a question.
All right, thank you very much, Attorney Goyo Larazabal. Salamat sa imong oras ug balik-balik din sa Open Line News Media Forum. Ato bakbakan sa Attorney Goyo, thank you very much. And mga kauban, we will be welcoming our next panelist in a bit, but please stand by. Open Line News Media Forum will be right back.
Sige, part-time, butano ka kung mag-open sila ng office din Cebu.
Yes, we will.
Ipaila-ila ni Partner Eric.
Okay, partner, as usual, balik lang na po.
Climate change. Oh.
Kaning ako ila si thank you.
Ang atong sunod nga guest, Legal Counsel, Kingdom of Jesus Christ, si Attorney Israelito Torion, fresh from Davao.
Good morning, Attorney, and welcome to Open Line News Media Forum.
Hi. Good morning, and thank you very much for having me, especially to Sir Eric. No? Daghang kayong salamat. And it's been a while that I've been absent here in Cebu. I graduated here in UP Cebu in 1991. Bachelor of Arts in Political Science. Maayong adlaw ka natong tanan.
Welcome, Attorney. Attorney, if we may ask, Attorney, aside of course no from Open Line News Media Forum, may we also know your agenda sa imuhang pagbalik din sa Cebu. Naapa ba kay mga laing activities nga salmutan karong adlaw the coming days?
Magkuan ko after this, mag-hi sa ako ang mga batchmates diri sa Sugbo, ako ang mga kauban. And of course, murag unyang alas 3 siguro na pa may activity ni Sir Eric, no? And then unyang gabi mag-hi na po sa akong mga batchmates diri sa Sugbo. Daghan ko mga amigo din kay diri ko nahuman sa akong kolehiyo before I went to law school.
Okay, we've also gathered, Attorney, nga si VP Sara is actually here in Cebu right now. She's in Danao City. Wala mo yung mga activities nga makita mo din
wala mi nagkatawagay. Although naon datoy amo ang nasabutan nga lunch kay katong mahitungod datong sa impeachment certiorari case nga akong gi-file pero wa pa na dayon. But maybe in a few days baka madayon na gyud na kuyog mi ni VP Inday.
With a few more days before the May 12 elections, Attorney, based on your assessment, kamusta man ang pagpangampanya and feedback nga gikan sa katawhan alang kay Pastor Kibuloy?
Well, kung ako ang basihan ang actual engagements nato, no, ang reaction sa katawhan sa ground, labi na sa Mindanao, medyo kusog-kusog yun, no? Dili lang si Pastor, kundi ang tanang PDP laban candidates, nganing Duterte. And I'm hoping and praying that the people would really respond to the plea and request of our former President Rodrigo Roa Duterte to vote straight yung PDP laban, yung Duterte. Kay this is what is the clarion call now of the nation, and that is to put loyal Dutertards in the Senate so that there can be a valid fiscalization of the policies of the government. Somebody, a group should stand against the excesses of the current Marcos administration, and also to help VP Inday Sara, because if we will not be able to secure a TRO, no, kung dili ta makakuha og temporary restraining order sa Supreme Court, we filed a reiterative motion, no? Pero wala pa ni na-aksyonan sa Korte Suprema. Madayon jud ng impeachment trial kay VP Inday. Maugani nga si Tatay Digong, usa siya nadakpan, usa siya gi-kidnap paingon dito sa ICC minghangyo gayod nga atong suportaran ang Duterte, no? Labi na si Pastor Apollo si Kibuloy nga iyang amigo og loyal kaayo niya sukad pa kaniadto hangtod karon.
Just recently, Attorney VP Sara formally endorsed the candidacy of re-election ni Senator Amy Marcos, and then bag-uhay rasad na nag-viral sad ang mga pictures ni Camille Villar ug ni VP Sara. What can you say about the party of the ruling party karon?
Well, ang PDP laban gyud ni adto wa mi kay balo. That's being bluntly honest about it. Nagka-istorya mi ni Vice Chairman Alcusi, but we, of course, she is our leader also, no, VP Sara, and ang unanimous na decision is to respect it, and since she made that decision, it must have been done in consultation with her father in The Hague. If such was done by VP Sara, then we should respect it. Pero ang policy sa PDP laban karon is Duterte katong yung gi-endorso ni former President Rodrigo Roa Duterte, and we leave it to the people to decide as to whether or not pulo lang or dungagan nila dito sa gi-endorso ni BP Inday. Akong nakita, doon na po siguro ni siya political move, no? And this must have been also analyzed by her, kay doon na po ni epekto manggod dito sa alyansa kung iyahang suportahan si Aimee Marcos o si Ma'am Camille Villar. Kay murag mabuak po ng alyansa. And besides, in the future, sa 2028, doon na po ni sila ikatabang kang VP Inday Sara. So, VP Inday Sara is also an individual, and he has also his political rights. She has the right to choose, and we should respect that.
Pero kung kamo-kamo lang sa partido, attorney, ang pasultihon, how would you assess the intentions of Senator Aimee Marcos? I mean, si Harry Roque has been very vocal about saying dili gid-angay kasaligan, or even use the term nga mangga. Kamo sa partido, tanaw ba ninyo, genuine ba ni nga mga intentions atong mga Senate hearing nga iyahang gipanguluhan?
We can judge a person's actions by his previous and current and consequent acts. No? What were her previous actions at the time when President Rodrigo Roa Duterte was kidnapped, so to speak? No? Did she say something? Because in March 11, the saga started at 8 o'clock or 7 o'clock in the morning. I remember I arrived from Hong Kong together with we were in Hong Kong with PRRD March 10, no, in a rally organized by OFWs, and then we had an inkling already that that an arrest warrant was already issued by the ICC, and as a matter of fact, former Executive Secretary Medialdea requested me to include former President Rodrigo Roa Duterte in the certiorari petition that I eventually filed in the Supreme Court. And as early as 8 o'clock in the morning, naanay drama dito sa NAIA Terminal 3. Pero ako alam po, objectively, wa manato gud nakitaan si Senator Aimee Marcos dito, no? Nga nagpakita unta sa iya hapong view on the matter, and that could have been the pivotal moment for her to speak up. And even in the days thereafter, wa na to siya nadunggan, no? It was only, I think, about 2 weeks thereafter na dunggan nato nga ning tingog siya og nag-initiate og Senate investigation. Perhaps because of this, many in PDP laban are suspecting her activities as a desperate attempt to save her otherwise failing candidacy. So, and we could not also blame them. That's their opinion on the matter. And this is a democratic country. I hope Senator Aimee Marcos would not feel bad if most of the PDP card-bearing members feel bad about her belated actions for FPRRD.
So would you say, attorney, kaning iyahang Senate hearing was a little too late?
Yes, it was a little bit too late. I mean, that's my honest opinion on the matter. Although, I must admit also, there are matters which came out there which confirmed our suspicions. And since there were already declarations under oath, so we could use that in our pleadings to be filed in the Supreme Court, and I do believe that such can likewise be used by Attorney Kaufman in his pleadings before the ICC.
Based on your assessment, attorney, of the reception of Cebuanos for the PDP senatorial slate, kamusta ang inyong assessment versus the alignment of the ruling party of One Cebu with the admin?
Ako ang nabantayan sa kaniadto pa nga diri ko ga-eskwela sa Cebu, no, mao gani ako ang binisaya haskag yung Bisaya, no. akong nabantayan nga ang Cebu mo barug yun, no? Mo barug against sa administrasyon kung dunagyoy kasayupan ang administrasyon. Ako alamang ginaampo nga kini magpadayon ngadto sa eleksyon tungod kay karon magong panahon na gikinahanglan ginamo ang sugbo. Gikinahanglan ni former President Rodrigo Roa Duterte nga motindog na usab ang sugbuhanon batok sa mga excesses ni ining administrasyon ug mapakita nato kini kung ato ag yung butuhan vote straight ang PDP laban para dunag mutindog para sa interes sa ato ang nasod. Kay kung madala pa ta sa ubang mga estratehiya sama aning One Cebu nga inyong ginatawag, no? Baka mawala na pud ta sa landas, mabudol na pud ta ba. So gikinahanglan gyud nga karong eleksyon na motindog unta ang atong mga kaigsuunan diri sa Sugbo, muhatag og makabungog nga suporta sa Duterte. Unya, para dili gani makalimtan kay Duterte, labi na dias Pasil, dias Carbon, bisag di makahinumdum ang mga butante nato unsaon pag memorize ba. Doon ako'y kanta. Kuan ni siya, kanang compose ni siya sa akong amigo nga taga Cabanatuan City, ang iyahang asawa, kauban ako sa Board of Governors sa una sa IBP Board. Unya, nindot kayo, dali kayo siya hinumduman, no? Unsa man ni siya, mura siya liron-liron sinta, ma'am.
Sampula ni Mr.
Sampula na to. Ang ani ang kanta ni siya. Marke, marke, batbong, hero sa Malabon. 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 Unsa may, unsa meaning ani? Markuleta. Kibuloy. So, marke, batbong, bato de la Rosa. Bongo, marke, batbong, hero. Hinlo. Rodriguez, hero sa Salvador. Malabon, Mata, Lambino, Bondok. So, kung maadto ta sa presinto, karong Mayo 12, hinumduman lang nato ng kanta nga, marke, batbong, hero sa Malabon, mahinumduman nato tong gihangyo ni Tatay Digong ato ag yung suportahan ning Duterte kay kini makatabang sa atong nasod ug diri usab sa Sugbo.
Last question for me, attorney. At ariya sa local level sa mga PDP nga mga kandidato, tanaw nimo sa fighting chance ni Pamela Barriquatro to win against Governor Gwendolyn Garcia?
Well, if the sympathy for Tatay Digong Roa Duterte would be translated into votes and if would be, duplicated likewise locally, that can spring a surprise, probably, no? And we leave that to the Cebuanos. Kung kinsay gi-endorso ni Tatay Digong, mao siguro pod unta ato ang suportahan. But of course, this is a democratic society where democratic space is provided. We leave that to you to decide. Pero ang sa amua is kung kinsa tong partido didto gyud mi.
Thank you, partner. Attorney, mangutana lang ko nimo, murag you are doing a human's job, no? Ikaw ray tigpamaba. Ikaw ray pirmi makitaan tapos dako ra ba kay ning kuan Pilipinas? Wala mo gi pikas-pikas nga murag nay mo kampanya sa Mindanao, nay mo kampanya sa Visayas, nay mo kampanya sad sa Luzon.
Well, sa KOJC, daghag spokesperson si Pastor Apollo Sigibuloy. No? Right now, na mga activity sa Luzon, na activity po sa Mindanao. Na mga speakers, like for example, si Boss Dada, sila Master Judea, si Ma'am Nery Cardona, si Pastor Marlon. No? We actually divide ourselves. No? Ako, kay ako man kunuhay ang official spokesperson, kung asa ko mo decide mo adto, suportahan ko nila. But sa mga big rallies, kung free ko, ako gyud mo representar kang Pastor Apollo Sigibuloy. But my role has evolved now also because of the cases that we are facing nowadays. No? If you notice, katong sa impeachment trial ni VP Sara, no? I was the lead counsel, I was the petitioner in fact, in the impeachment, in the certiorari petition that was filed questioning the impeachment proceedings initiated against VP Sara. And then the kidnapping of FPRRD no? I became legal counsel of FPRRD and Senator Bato de la Rosa in filing the certiorari proceedings likewise, questioning the continued cooperation of the government vis-a-vis the ICC's actions, actuations here, activities here in the country. And then katong online voting and our request and plea that Section 31 of Republic Act 9369 kaning manual counting of votes sa precinct level nga gikinahanglan gyud nga maimplementa karon, otherwise baka ang atong gipangbutuhan dili ma-reflect no sa resulta. I also became the lead counsel for PDP Laban, no, og katong online voting nga ato tag i-prohibit kay wala palagi batas, wala pa tayong batas, wala pa'y balaod sa online voting, pero ang COMELEC gauna-una na ga-implementar og online voting nga wala pa kani balaod, samtang diri sa manual counting of votes nga naay balaod, Section 31 of 9369 dili i-implementa kay electronic vote, electronic counting gyud. So ang resulta karon kung hatagang kag election returns, wa kay makita as to progression of votes, wala kay kasaligan nga datos kung ang nigawas pa sa election returns mao bagyoy gibutuhan sa katawhan. Mao gani atuwaon ta atong gihangyo sa Korte Suprema nga pag ihap sa baluta pareho lang gyapon sa Amerika, manual counting kay para makita nimo dunay tally sheets, dunay klaro nga election returns, no? Ang mga watchers pwede magpapirma og certificate of votes so that the lawyers doon na gid sila klarong datos pag adto dito sa canvassing kung unsa gyud og pila pod ang boto nakuha kada kandidato sa precinct level. Unlike karon kung dili gyud na mag-run sa Supreme Court, no? Hatagan na lang kadritso og election returns, wa kakabalo kung mao ba gyud gibutuhan sa mga tao. Unya i-transmit dito sa canvassing, hatagan na lang kag resulta dito. Wa gani kakabalo unsay asa gikan to nga mga boto. Allegedly from the precincts, but you do not have clear and specific data, no, as to whether or not those are clear reflections of the votes actually garnered per candidate per precinct. So mao na ang ato ang gipanghimo karon po.
Attorney, unsa may nahimong response ana, no? Labi na kanang ilang giingon nga online voting. Do you feel confident that there will be, as the Constitution says, honest, orderly, and peaceful elections?
With all due respect to the Commission on Elections, no, and I say this with due respect to the chairperson, Garcia, no, akong tanaw ani manggod is naamano tay balaod ana. Sections 23, 24, 25, and 27 of Republic Act 10590, no? What does that law provide? Under Sections 23, it provides for 3 alternatives, no, of voting on the part of OFWs and registered voters. And what are these? They can personally vote, go to the embassy or consulate office, and they are given actual ballots, and they express their choice, no? And then, second, vote by mail. They can vote by mail. Or any other means as may be determined by the Commission. What gyud gi-mention dito ang online voting. If you read Section 24, nakasaad dito ang proseso nga hatagan gyud sila physical ballots. Kanang digital ballots on online voting, wa na balaod. No? That is foreign to our jurisdiction. And the COMELEC on its own, which I believe honestly is an ultra-virus act, no? You know, crafted this concept called digital ballots, proceeded to act like Congress, and implemented online voting, which I believe is not founded on any law here in our country. Section 25 mandates voting by mail. Ang himo sa COMELEC karon, giwala tong sections 23 and 24, giwala ang section 25, and proceeded to have online voting which is not founded in any law in the Philippines. Mao gani na nga medyo kaniadto sige gyud ko og saba-saba ni Anas PDP Laban, and I impressed upon them the urgency of the matter. Mayo gani kay na si Senator Jimmy Bondok, si Attorney Glenn Chong, no? Naapod si Attorney Vic Rodriguez, and they responded to my call that we should act on it, and that is why I was issued a resolution from PDP Laban in order to file the petition, and the same was signed by Secretary Alcusi, and I was likewise one of the petitioners. And there is also an urgent need for us karon nga kanang Section 31 sa Republic Act 9369, no? Dapat ma-implement gyud na kay para naagi manual counting. Kay mao lagi to bisan tuod diri sa Sugbo, no? Diri sa Sugbo makabungog ang suporta kay Tatay Digong. Muboto tanan sa Duterte. Pero paglabas sa unsay tawa kani election returns lahi ang mo resulta. Unsaon na to pagkahibalo nga di man nato dayon ma-open ang ballot box. Magpaabot pa ka nga mag-question ka later on, mag-file kag election protest or didto sa Senate Electoral Tribunal. Nya ma-elect naman sila kato namang mga na-elect mo imang lingkod didto. Mao na po mo desisyon haskang lisura. Mao na nga gikinahanglan gyud nga hinaut-unta nga ang tao, ang katawhan karon no mutabang sa amoa og demand nga hinaut-unta ang COMELEC would respond to the clarion call of the people nga hinaut-unta nga kaning online voting di usa padayon sa ta sa physical voting og kaning section 31 sa RA 9369 ato yung butuhan. Mao kini ang hangyo sa PDP Laban og ni Pastor Apollo Sikibuloy.
You mentioned, Attorney, katong si Attorney Glenn Chong, no? Nasa'y nahisgutan nga ang QR code nga naa sa kuan nga murabag atong receipt sa atong pagbutar. Sa una, pwede na nimong iscan sa camera. Pagkahuman, magawas na sa tuo, sa makina, ang mga gibutaran nimo. Murag giwagtang nasad ni. So, sa may inyong tanaw, ani?
Haskang kurata lagi yung sistema karon ambot nganong naing-ani ni no. That is why we also requested no kay before manggod unta mag initiate or implement ang Commission on Elections, there should have been widespread consultation. But apparently this was not clearly done by the Commission on Elections. Karon sa online voting pag ananimo unsa nimo sa QR code ang manggawas dito JSON format no gitawag nila encryption kuno but I asked so many experts dili na sa encryption no because there are letters there ang encryption kandi na gid nimo mababasa so and accordingly an encryption is supposed to guard against third parties not against yourself. So we have a situation now where the Commission on Elections is implementing an alleged encryption against the voters themselves. So we have here a violation of the right of the voters to information as to their votes. And supposedly elections are characterized by transparency. No? If you look at Estonia, for instance, they have this system where the votes are really encrypted, no? But they can actually open it at any time. And this is the only system where we can open it after May 12. Pastang. And what would prevent malwares from attacking, what is contained therein, no? Kumpalitan, lahi ang gi-transmit dito. Unya, pag-abot May 12, tak. Pag open mo, mauna. Di ba? So, I hope and pray that the Commission on Elections would hear these valid concerns aired by not only, ordinary people like me, but by IT experts.
Sir, 2 questions. Unsa ang imong ikasulti sa kaning mga critics saying the main agenda na lang karon sa Duterte nga mga senatorial candidates is mainly the protection of VP Sara. And wala na kaayo na discuss ang concrete nga mga plataporma. Sige, kana, sir.
Well, on the contrary, no. Because PDP Laban has clearly presented concrete plans. Now, si Pastor Apollo Sikibuloy, for instance, he has always been saying that if you will vote for him, he will be your main warrior against corruption. And why is that? you look at KOJC. KOJC in 1985 was only composed of 15 people, and now it is spread worldwide in 2,000 cities and 200 countries with 7 million plus members. And it has an Exhibit A. It is never, Pastor Apollo Sikibuloy has no badge of corruption, any taint of corruption. Why? Because if he is corrupt, he would not have made KOJC progressive as it is right now. Look at SMNI. That's part of his achievements. Look at the Kingdom, which is now the biggest dome in the world, which can accommodate 75,000 persons, no, or visitors. He has many affiliated companies which has progressed. And according to him, if he will be voted into the Senate by the people, no, he will introduce the amendment of the Ombudsman Act by creating a truth commission, because the ombudsman may be able to investigate any act or omission by any public officer, but it has no clear roster of investigators that are competent enough to really go after grafters. So he would like to create this truth commission, and hand in hand with that, he will move for the lowering of the penalty. Rather, he will move for the lowering of the threshold for plunder. Karon magod 50 million. Si Attorney Vic Rodriguez, 1 million daw iyaha. But kay Pastor, 100,000 or even lower. But that is subject to discussion. He will likewise move for amendment or disregard of liquidation by certification. No, senators now, Congress can liquidate their funds via certification. That should not be done anymore. Instead, it should be liquidation by receipts. He is also advocating for the legalization of Whistleblower Protection Act, that those who are previous to corruption, who want to become witnesses, they should be protected under the law. And that he will also move for the amendment of the Bank Secrecy Act, such that dollar deposits can likewise be looked into during investigations. Insofar as agriculture is concerned, he also has a clear platform. No, he will move for the introduction of Philippine Food Sufficiency Act, such that there are more than 300,000 hectares government lands, idle lands now here in our country, and he will move that government itself will engage in agriculture, hire manghuha itong mga tao nga walay mga trabaho sa mga kabukiran, i-hire sa gobyerno, ang gobyerno na karon ang maoy mangunay pag alsa sa ato ang agrikultura, o katong mga yuta nga ganahan pod nga i-develop, i-cultivate sa ato ang mag-uuma, dapat sila suportahan with seeds, with fertilizers, and dapat karon ang gobyerno mangunay pagpalit o pagmarket sa mga produkto sa mga mag-uuma. Kaya ang problema man sa mag-uuma karon, ako mag-uuma man ko, pagtanom nimo sa palay, okay, mahal pa ang palay. Pag harvest nimo, barato na kayong palay. No, according to him, it should be the government which should be the marketer of these products, sell this abroad to Singapore, to Korea, to Japan, to Saudi Arabia, no, so that we can help the farmers, and we can likewise give jobs to makahatag trabaho sa mga kabukiran. He also moves for the amendment of Republic Act 10869. What is this? Job Start Philippines. Gusto ni Pastor Apollo Sikibuloy o sa PDP Laban nga dunay mga trabaho ato ang mga kabatanunan. If you read Republic Act 10869, no, mga high school graduates lang ang maka-avail niini nga mahatagag trabaho sa Department of Labor. According to Pastor Apollo Sikibuloy, bisan pa graduate ka sa grade 6 o wala kay grado, dapat pwede ka maka-avail niini. He will move for the amendment of this law and give incentives to big corporations which can provide jobs, makahatag og trabaho sa mga kabatanunan sa probinsya o sa diri sa atong diri sa syudad, no? And he also is moving for the introduction of Microfinance Support Act. Daghang mga katawhan nato, dias pasil, dias carbon, nga gusto mang negosyo in town pero walay kapital, no? The microfinance support bill that he intends to pass, no, gives chance to those who are qualified and those who are willing to become entrepreneurs after proper training is conducted or given to them. Kaya bisan po kayo, pataka lang po kagpahulam, nyo, pa din mo sila gitrain, dapat mo i-presentar po nila ilang plano, and funds should be available to them. No? Sa OFWs, guwapo po kaayo plano si Pastor Apollo Sikibuloy. He moves for the passage of a law for a continuous education and entrepreneurial act. Ang mga Pinoy karon, mga Cebuano, muadtog abroad kay wala nay opportunity sa Pilipinas. Pero kung makakwarta sila, mubalik na dira sa Pilipinas. Pastor Apollo Sikibuloy envisions that before they go back to the country, they should be prepared. There should be a program, continuous education for them, para pagbalik nila dire, graduate na sila college, or na sila education program, no, na sila nahuman, or na-train na sila sa entrepreneur para kabalo na sila mo negosyo diri sa Pilipinas. No? All these are part of the pipelines of programs being prepared by Pastor Apollo Sikibuloy and the PDP Laban if they will be elected in the Senate.
Attorney, how challenging do you find getting these list of platforms across the people alongside the legal charges that Pastor Kibuloy is facing?
Yeah, this is quite challenging. Even the approval of ads would take time because tanan ako motions i-file dito sa korte, kinahanglan magud kung naay TV ad si Pastor Apollo Sikibuloy, kinahanglan nimo pa-aprobahan sa korte. Actually, katong TV ad gani na deny, no? Katulang katong iyang mensahe sa birthday ni Presidente Rodrigo Duterte na aprubahan pero medyo murag buntag na sa birthday niya, no? So medyo challenging gyud siya, but ang dream man gud ni pastor wala man gina siya nangandoy nga mudagan. Nahitabo man lang gud ni nga nidagan siya because he wanted to become a voice of the downtrodden and the abused. If you remember atong June 10, tungod lagi aning kaso niya kunuhay nga rape daw nga gi-file. Isa lang ang nag-file sa iya, no? Gina-paint na siya nga dautan nga tao, nga rapist kuno siya. Ang unang allegation 2,000 na daw kabuok membro niya iyang gipang rape. Believe lagi ko, grabe pas tubo siguro ning kang pastor, no? Oh, so under dito isa ra gyud ang nag-file pero after nga nanatoy warrant for cyber libel katong ga-file against sa iya. Unya nag-file pa gito, gi-rape daw siya 2014, ninggawas siya sa Kingdom 2016, ni-file siya 2019. Pero doon na siya warrant 2018. Pero maura po ni rape case, nga wa malagay panty na kitaan, wa malanggali police blotter, wala malanggani medical certificate. And klaro kaayo nga politically motivated ni tungod kay ngano naabay rape karon nga pati ang SMNI nga mga radyo, mga TV siradan. Tanan nga mga bank accounts sa iyang affiliated corporations, companies, siradan. So, i-freeze. So, klaro ni nga tungod kay siya tinuod nga higala sa atuang pinalanggang presidente, siya mo'y giuna. Dahil tunay siya na kaibigan, siya po ang inuna ng administrasyon na ito. Para lahat ng mga tao, makita mo, siya lang ang kandidato ng mga poster gipang tanggal. Oh. Pangutano nimo nganong gitanggal na nimo? Rapist man guna siya. Ngano kano sa maday ka gi-rape niya? Di man ako ang gi-rape. Kinsa maday ang gi-rape? Wa po ko kaila. Maura ni, ngano man because the mainstream media is trying to sell us an idea that he is a bad person. Now, all of us are almost all of you, no? Think when I arrive here, maybe at the back of your mind is thinking that he is really a rapist. No, no, no. In town, no? Kung nakahibalo lang mo nganong gipailan siya og kaso, i-connect ninyo sa politika lamang kining tanan. So sa ato pa hinaut-unta nga hatagan ninyo siya og benefit of the doubt. Ngano si Presidente Rodrigo Roa Duterte nagpabiling iyang amigo hangtod karon kung rapist siya, no? Ngano nga ang ubang tao imuha siyang dauton nga siya kuno anak sa Ginoo. Kita mang tanan pod anak sa Ginoo, appointed son of God siya. Mao na ilahang pagtuo. Kay kita mang tanan pod anak man kita sa Ginoo. Ang mga nagadaot lamang sa iyaha, siguro anak siguro sila sa diablo kay ngano masuko man sila, no? So naaka ako Muslim ako. Sa akong mga kaigsuon ng mga Muslim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. In Surah 109, no? Surah Al-Kafirun. There is a saying there that your religion is your religion. My religion is my religion. Okay? It is your belief. Then I respect you for that. It is up to you when you are before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to answer for all your deeds here in dunya. Dunya is earth. Okay? So, it is up to him whether he goes to the akhirah. Unsa ilang system of beliefs ilahan na. Like for example, mga Hindu, tuo silang mga unsay tawa kani, mga hayop, ang uban nila Ginoo. Ilahan na. We respect that. Okay? But we should not use our religion to judge other persons who have a different set of beliefs. Because if we will use our moral standards, religious standards, to judge other persons, then we really have a problem. Ang atua di ay karon tan-aon kung kinsa tong dunagyoy kapasidad, dunay record. Tan-awan yung Pastor Apollo Sikibuloy. Unsa iyang nahuman, highly educated, no? Naay daghang kayong degrees, naay honorary doctorate degrees. Unya naapagan eskwelahan, JMC, Jose Maria College, no? Where I am dean, mao ganina abogado ko niya, kay gikuha ko niya as dean of law school, no? And by the grace of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, maayo baya ang pagpadagan gid niya sa tanan diyang mga organisasyon. Mao gani nga gikasilusan ni siya, giuna ni siya kay kumutabang manggod si Pastor Apollo Sikibuloy, why piyungay na. Piyungay na. Tabang na siya, tabab, abri na perming gripo, ana. Oo. Mao na iyang gihimo kang Presidente Rodrigo Roa Duterte. Mao na amigo sila hangtod karon tungod kay kahibalo si Presidente Rodrigo Roa Duterte nga loyal ni si Pastor Apollo Sikibuloy. Unya mauna ang atong gikinahanglan karon sa Senado karong 2025.
Final question, partner, so we can give it to kuan sa atong mga kauban. Final question, attorney, kaning gipagawas ni Attorney Glanchong nga kuan kanibang naanak kunoy resulta ang kuan sa allegedly sa Senate elections, and then iya paganing gipagawas sa iyang kuan kaugalingang vlog nga naay usa ka senatorial candidate nga gusto mo bayad og 1 billion pagkahuman dili na gi-accept kuno kay kuan na kuno nana kunoy set results allegedly.
Kana nga istorya nadungganan na nako kay but I leave that to Glenn Chong, no? Kay naamang gud na siya yung mga sources nga iyaha, no? As to whether or not it is possible, given the situation that we are in right now, and knowing that Chairman Garcia, no, is insisting on his Miro system of voting now, nga despite our plea nga dili gid siya mo open, no, siguro doon na po'y basihanan si Attorney Glenn Chong, no? Wala lang gyud ko'y personal knowledge sa mga sources sa akong amigo, pero wa man pugod ni kinaiya nga mamakak ni si Attorney Glenn Chong, no? Ang ako lang unta ana, no, nga hinaut-unta nga ato pong amigo nga si Attorney George Garcia, mo tugot na lang pud unta nga para wala untay duda katong manual counting of votes in the present level iimplementar na lang unta niya unsa bay mawa wagay mawa nga naman the system will continue unsa man atong buhaton usa siya i-transmit ato asag iphon para duna tay ang mga watchers makakita doon na tayo tally sheet, ebidensya. Magpapirma kag certificate of votes, ebidensya. So, kada presinto, natay klarong datos. Pila ba ka kuan mausik ni ana? Waray 30 minutos. Kay mo haram ng basahon. Basahon naman ni mo. Pareho ragod ka ni adto. And then, transmit na ang resulta afterwards so that we can have clear data. Dili na lisod. Maghimo lang siya amending resolution, no? Kaya kay na niya, bright kay na niya, para i-implementar na and then train the di naman gani kinahanglan training gani ang mga teachers anak kay pila mauna man ilang ginahimo kani adto pa. Maunta na ato ang hangyunta sa atong amigo nga si Attorney George Garcia, no? Nagka-inkwentro naman mi anig kaso sa Comelec kaniadto sa na siya nahimong chairman. Nga hinaut unta nga i-implementar na kay gikinahanglan gina sa atong nasud kay kung dili man gud ni i-implementa naagi cloud of Damocles. Na sword of Damocles, cloud of doubt ba? Sa mga mahimo niya eleksyon sa mga mahimo niyang mga kuan, mga senador. Gilaliman ka na mga pagawasan pag yung ka kuan ba andam ang imuhang utok nga kani sila may mudaog kay pagawasan ka mga survey. Di ba mga survey tingala ka manggawas manghapon ni mga pangalanan ni nga wa gyud nimo madunggan, no? Ilado sila, pero kung paminawon nimo sa ang mga tao, abot ko Sambuanga, Syukon, Sambuanga, abot ko dito sa mga lagyo na kaayo nga mga lugar sa Mindanao, abot ko Benguet, no? Sa Luzon, no? Ang mga tao gyud ang gisinggit Duterte. Kung unsay gisulting Tatay Digong, mauto among butuhan. Pero paggawa sa survey, unsa man ni mga surbihan naalang sila murag ka na palubag. Gihimo nilang number 1 ug number 2 si Bungo o si Bato de la Rosa, no? So, ang ako unta is, hinautunta nga si Chairman George Garcia, maminaw sa mulo sa mga tao, nga bisag kana na lang manual counting of votes. Unya, iundang sa atong online voting, implement sa atong physical voting sa gyud. Nga mulinya ang mga OFWs, kay gusto man silang mulinya, para lang basta naalang din sila confidence sa ilahang sistema. So kung ma-implementar unta na, di maayo unta ang ato ang nasod. Pero kung di na ma-implementa, matay. Ang doubt, no, ang duda sa tao di gyud mawala.
Thank you, Attorney Torion. And now we will open the floor for questions from our media friends. Please approach the mic stand and state your name and your news organization.
Good morning. Mauna lang ko.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Richard Alfahura, DYCN. Samtang naminaw ko nimo, attorney. Actually, advocate ko og online voting. Sa akong affirmative defense, dihang gideclare kog nuisance candidate pagka senator, kadang mauna ang line of argument nga akong gipose sa Comelec. Kaya nakita nako nga dili compliant ang Comelec sa na-provision sa balaod. No, naminaw ko nimo. Unya dunay ni something sa kunauna nga kanang if we keep repeating the same mistake over and over again and expect a different result, that's insanity. Do you think we are in a political insanity with the given situation nga imuhang gisulti karon? With that situation, mahimo bang moral option to call for a boycott considering sa dim scenario sumala sa giingon sa mga IT expert in order to embarrass if not to embarrass, to tell the world nga dunay panginahanglan popular expression for a boycott with given situation.
Well, doon ako'y gamayng idea ng saying nimo that if you commit the same mistake again, that's no longer an honest mistake but stupidity, no, or insanity, no. Pero ang akuan sa kuha lang ni personal view lang ni I may be mistaken. This may be pursuant to a political agenda, no? An agenda of greed for power, lust for continuous control over the country, no? So, mauna ako ang pananaw. Kay natingala ko, grabe man ang request for transparency, pero dili gid ta pagbigyan, no? Kanang bullheaded gid sila ba, no? If you are a government of men, manggod, no, and for men, and government of people and for the people, you should listen to the pulse of the people. Pero kanila, no? Kay bisan pag sige na grabe ng clamor, padayon gyapon sila. So there must be something behind this. Mo na akong tanaw. Pero is this enough for us to call for a boycott? I still say no. Ganina lang sa samtang gasakay ko sa eroplano, nabaguhan manggug ko kay matingala man kadaghan namang magpa-picture nimo. Oo. Unya ingon sila, uy, pa-picture ka sir, kun hirap ako artista. Oh, so okay. Pero sir, ingon siya, salamat kayo sa imong gihimo sir, pero matay wa naman koy kuan sir, ganahan naman ko mo adtog New Zealand. Wa nagi kuan mag-boycott na lang siguro mi sir. Ingo ayaw pod. You know why? Because this is the only country given to us by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And anything that we can do to protect our country should be done by us. Because even if you go to New Zealand, it's such a new, nice country. Even if you go to Dubai, United States of America, Canada, you will always remain as a second-class citizen there. Because you are a Filipino, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave you this country as your own, then you should do anything within your power to protect it. Such as but not limited to participating in the electoral activity that that as a citizen we should participate. No? Nga naman, ako ganing hangyo sa ato ang mga OFWs. Adto gihapon mog embassy o consular office. I-record, ipa-video nimo that you are invoking your right under sections 23, 24 of Republic Act 10590. Kung i-deny gani mo, sumbong mo sa vote guard. Kaya ang ako ang law school, dili ako kay Pastor Apollo si Kibuloy. Ako lay din. Nag-create ako mga estudyante pod og kanang sumbunganan nila. Okay? So sumbong mo dito, execute an affidavit, pero patudlo gihapon mo sa unsaon pagpa-register online. But you should paper the world. What do I mean paper the world? Document everything so that we can have clear evidences later on. And participate still. Kay kung mo boycott mo, manaog ning mga pikas. Oo. Mawad ano boto ang Duterte. No? So, gikinahanglan mo partisipar gihapon ta, sir. Kay ngano, bisan pag mura niglaang siya, pero kung kompleto tag ebidensya later on, naatay masandigan. No? We should never give up. This is our only country. We should fight for it.
Follow up ko, unsa ay ning tulo ka mga certificate nga gingon sa mga IT expert nga kinahanglanon kayo para sa security sa butos. Nga unsa implication ini? Can you educate us?
Well, under the law, there is supposedly a certification to be secured from international agencies, no? 90 days before the election. Ipa-certify ni accredit ni siya. Murabag kung mga eskwelahan pa, murag kukupeya o sa ba ng mga organisasyon nila. So ang atua pong election system unta, dapat i-certify ni siya at least 90 days before the elections. Hangtod karon wa pag ginahitabo, okay? And don't you know nga dapat unta sa atong balaod, a provider ani should have prior experience. Pero wa ba mo kahibalo nga ang provider ani online voting, SMS unsa tong pangalan sa iyahang corporation na adini, no? Had no experience whatsoever before, no? Wala sila. They were experienced in SMS but not on online voting, no? They may have paired with an American company, but as to previous experience wa ni. But and you relate this with section 7 of the law, this is already a violation supposedly. Oo. So, walay track record ni. And even the Miro system, according to Chairman George Garcia, this is unique only in the Philippines, the country, no? No other system has, kay duha ka system giusan niya. Ang problema ani, ang gikinanglan magud sa balaod, nga dapat na kay previous track record. So, ang iyang declaration was already a declaration against interest, no? Kay it is already an admission nga first time gid ni gi-implementar sa Philippines. You know, our right to vote is a sacred right. This is the only chance by which a voter, a Filipino, can express his choice, and for 3 years or 6 years thereafter, wa na, public officers na, mga mayor na, may mga hari, mga congressman na, mga hari. Dapat unta to protektahan ni kay sagrado ning atong buto. Pero ang problema karon, pati ang proseso na kulangan na taog pagsalig. So dapat remedyohan ni sa COMELEC by acting pursuant to our legitimate demands.
Next question? Sir Jean?
Gamay lang ni pangutana, sir. Kanang after nga gidakop si Kibuloy, kaning kay ba may daghang kaayong membro ang Kibuloy, no? Wa ba'y na-discourage sa grupo? Nangutana lang ko niini kay ba mga boat reach ko ang gani inyong organization. Wa ba kunhuran yung after that pagdakop niya? Wa ba yung mga ni-back out na? Iba mo may ipangdaot yun atong panahon na si Kibuloy sa iyang pagdakop. Gidaot mo itong iyang reputation ato, sir. Nya, wa ba mo mahingawa nga kining di niya siya ka kuan ron, maka pwesto rong eleksyon na?
As to your first question, kung na minusan ba ang miyembro, no? Muragwa baya. Although ang uban during the height, ako mo ginangunay ato, sir. Ako ginasa tubangan to akong best friend si General Torre, di ba? Torre siya, Torreon ko. Oh. So ako'y gatubang ato niya. Dito na ako na kuan ba na practice gyud ang sabar. You know, in Islam we are taught the concept of sabar. What is that? Sabar is actually patience, no? When you deal with extreme individuals, you have to exercise that. And according to our belief, if you exercise that, you gain points in the Akhirah, no? So, muna mo dito na ako na-exercise ug maayo, sir. Gilaliman ka atong June 10, sila'y warrant ko, no? Isa lang ang warrant, ha? Isa lang. Oh. Ang tanan nga mga kuan, gipang-atake. Usban pa gyud atong August 24 to September 8. August 24, di ba, nagkaatubang mi, kita mi. Inko, sir, unsa man ni isa ra man ni kawaran ni mo gipangin. Nya Pasig pa gyud. Anywhere man na ma-implementar. Nya, sir, babae maning naadri, di man si pastor. Daghang ka ng istorya, makita man ninyo, no? So, we were given 5 minutes, no? Giabrihan na namo, sulod na mo, sir. Wa, gyud, gipang labay og mga unsay tawag ani, tear gas, mga mga membro tulog patay ato, sir. Oo. So, katura po'y arrest warrant, sir, nga perti ka unique. Gilaliman ka, arrest warrant, no? Warrant of arrest ang da. Pero gihimo na nila among eskwelahan nga balay, no? Ang katedral nga ampuanan sa mga KOJC, ako, Muslim ako. Numdumi ko ang Muslim, ang masjid. Mao na ilahang gihimong tulugan, mo ilang gihimo nga headquarter sa di nakasulod ang mga membro gibutangan paghilo nga kuan. Oh. Unya ang ilahang mga unsa ni tawag, ilahang mga ang SMNI didto na mga tug, ang ilahang ang mga tuluganan sa mga membro didto na mga pulis nga tug. Oh. Unya ang sa kadaghan nila 5,000 go kabuok, no? If Helen of Troy was able to launch 1,000 ships, Pastor Apollo si Kibuloy is responsible for launching 5,000 policemen to look for one man, no? And then, arrest warrant, dito na sila matulog, unya, dito gihimo na nilang balay, unya, dili pa lang ana. Ang amo eskwelahan, gikubkub pag yun, gikubkub. Kaya nga no, doon ako na'y gold. O sabay labots, rapes, gold. Di ba? O, gikubkub. 8 meters high. Gidinay pag ina, di ba? Kita ninyo kanina to, deny. Sudlo nung tanako niya, unsaon man sir kay na may mga armalite, so mag-isog-isog dito pusilo niya. Kung nila dito, di na lang kumupugos, pero gisulod yun ang tanako. Later on, nakasulod yun panahon nila ni Senator Batong, ako apong kliyente. Sulod na mo, confirmed yun. Nga naagyod, gihimo, gikalot, unya, gipangbangagan ang mga amuang mga building. Maura ni arrest warrant, hunum-dumi sira, panalitan lang ng pastor ganito na hitabo, nga, unsa ni tawag, nga, ikaw na kay warrant, muadto ang pulis sa imuha, moingon siya, ay, di may manghuli dire. Diri mi sa imong sala. Diri may matog, diri may malibang, diri may magkuan, ngaon, ana ba? Klaro nga istorya. Oh. Ilaliman kaniya na. Unya dito na sila 16 days sa imong balay. Oy, naa siguro siya tunnel dia atong bangagan ni inyong sala. Bangagan ni imong sala. Oh. Kay naa siguro siya dia sa ilalom. Mauni gihimo sa KOJC. Mao gani ito si pastor kay naa man siya right under the law. What are his rights under the law supposedly? Ang iyang kaso na dismiss na. For 3 years, more than 3 years, tuas DOJ, sayop pag yun ang pag-file petition for review. Kay wa gituman tong mga requirements. Wa gani mga CD. Supposedly to, dismissible to. Nag-Senate investigation, it became fashionable to attack Pastor Apollo Sikibuloy. Gikalit lang na yung resolution. In less than 1 week na say warrant. Napabaya may right to file a motion for reconsideration. We filed a motion for reconsideration. Wa pa aksyon ni hangtod karon. Pila na? Tuig na. Oh. Wa ka. Unya, kumplita na pa to siya. Pwede pa niya questionon tong information, which we did. And we filed a petition for certiorari sa Court of Appeals. Nahimo na ba ni kaniadto? Nahimo na kaniadto. Like for example, Senator Lacson in the past, when he was filed a case for murder, there was a warrant for his arrest, and his lawyers questioned the warrant before the Court of Appeals. He went on hiding. Oh. Itago siya. Kay nga naman, it's the option under our legal system of the accused. It is an uncomfortable option, but it is a legal option. It is a legal option. Nga mo paabot ka sa Court of Appeals, bisan di ay i-reverse tong Department of Justice. Maupoy gihimo ni Pastor Apollo Sikibuloy. Mauto nga, atake siya dito, maayo kami, may nagkabuang dito. Dito na ko kumatug sa eskwelahan, sir. Dito na ko mahom, ni Udto, hapon, dito na ko matug. Oh. Kay, bisa gabi sudlon to mga, nga ano po ni mga pulis tong kinsay gasugo nila ato, nga alas 9, alas 10 man sudlon ang mga membro ng mga babae ni pastor nga tayo mga maligo. Oh. Ambot po doon sa ilang ganahan nila tanaw nga maumay pagsuod nila inig manglimpyo na ang mga babae. Oh. So, dagat ako na po mo adto dito. So, ang ako ato mao gani na pugos og surrenders pastor. Klaro man na on record ba? Wa na gani nila gipangutana. Oh, karon. Na mas gawas pastor gipabalik dito kay para wa na lang kay nag-surrender on ta mi didto sa army sa ISAF. Oh. Pero ang ISAF ni hangyo sa MUA na kung pwede ibalik siya dito para dili kay lain man kay tawo mo surrenders pastor nya wa da dito sa kuan GMC na da dito sa bukid. Oh. Di unsay mahitabo sa atong migo. Oo, nga si General Torre, magbuka siyang tanga. Oh. So, pabalik yun dito. Moto nga, hero sila. Pero wak na kayo minagahisgot ni Ana, kay di man may gusto lagi gubot. Oo. But that's a fact. Oh. So, ang amo lang ni ini, napugos si pastor nga para mutingog siya mo boses sa mga dinaog-daog, and that religious freedom will be protected if he will be more protected if he will become a senator.
Thank you very much, Attorney Torion. Wala na tayo igong oras, mga kauban. At this point, we will give Attorney Torion the opportunity to also give his closing statement alang sa ato ang mga viewers sa Open Line News Media Forum.
There is a saying that gratitude is the most extreme of virtues, positive virtues, and perhaps the parent of all others. So that is why I will begin my closing statement by thanking our good friend, no, Sir Eric Espina, and you, ma'am, no, for giving us the time to be here in Open Line. Daghan gyud kaayong salamat og in behalf of Pastor Apollo Sikibuloy and the KOJC members, we would like to express our heartfelt thanks and gratitude to you guys, no. Ang amo lang is kay balumi nga naay mga napilit na siguro sa inyong huna-huna ang mga atake against kay Pastor Apollo Sikibuloy. But I'm hoping and praying that you would give him the benefit of the doubt, that you would look at his achievements, that you would look at the closeness of Pastor Apollo Sikibuloy with his good friend, President Rodrigo Roa Duterte. Kung suod siya o misalig si President Rodrigo Roa Duterte sa iyaha, then siguro enough na nga musalig puta sa iya. Tagaan na to siya, bisag isa lang katsansa din sa Senado para mapakita niya nga doon na siya kapasidad nga pahimo og mga balaod para sa ikaayo sa atuang nasod. Daghan kayong salamat og maayong udto kanatong tanan.
Dagan kayong salamat, Attorney Torion, ug buot sab namong pasalamatan makausap pa ang ato ang mga presenters sa Open Line News Media Forum. Thank you very much to Manila Bankers Assurance, the Life and Non-Life Company, International Marketing Group or IMG, Kaiser International Health Group Incorporated ug Kaiser Medical Center. Ug syempre sa inyohan tanan mga kauban nga padayong nagsuporta sa Open Line News Media Forum dinhi sa MyTV Cebu. Kung wala pa mo naka-like ug follow sa ato ang Facebook page mga kauban, please follow us on all of our socials. This has been Andrea Patania Matthew.
And partner, Eric Espina.
See you all next Tuesday mga kauban din sa Open Line News Media Forum sa MyTV Cebu.